Hi guys, this is Brandy. So today we're going to be making a shaker paper clip. What brought this on was I bought this giant pack, well, not the giant pack, but I bought this pack of giant paper clips at May Made It at one of her events. So I wanted to make a paper clip that actually had a shaker element on it, not attached to it. So this is what I came up with, and I made this little Halloween one. Oops, let me stay in frame. I made this Halloween one, and y'all, sorry if the lighting's not good. I'm trying to work on that. And then I also tried out this Christmas one here. So these are great. You can use them in a book. I actually tried it in a journal. And so it's just a cute little paper clip. And let me scoot over so I can't quit going out of frame. But I put some sparkles in there. And I mean, I put a lot of stuff in here so it doesn't shake a lot. But it shakes a little bit. So if you want it to shake more, just don't put as much stuff in there. So I'm going to show y'all how to make this. First of all, these paper clips are really large. So these are about 4 inches long and about 7/8 inches wide. So they're fairly large paper clips. Very large paper clips. Don't need a lot of things to make it. I got this book of acetate from Michael's. Of course, any acetate will do, but I thought this was nice because it's like 6x6 sheets of acetate, and you get 12 sheets of it. So this is great for a project like this. You can use any kind of fillers. Now, I did have these beads right here, and they were too small. They fell out. So you do want to use something that's not going to fall out. Like you have this little crack here at the bottom, so you don't want to fall out in that area. I put mica flakes in this one, and some of the mica flakes did fall out down here. So on this one, I'm going to use these larger sequins. And then I'm going to use these little shaker filler pieces, spider webs, and spiders, some strong sticky tape, and a little piece of ribbon. So I'm going to show you how, oh, and also, sorry, I almost forgot, a scrap piece of paper. So this is a piece of Tim Holtz paper. You can use any scrap piece of paper. It just needs to be, if you're going to do the long one, you need to make sure it's long enough for that. Today, we're going to do the shorter one. The difference between those two, this one is made on the shorter part of the paper clip, and this one here is made on your longer part of the paper clip. So you just decide which one you want to do and make it accordingly as far as your measurements go. This one I'm going to make on this shorter section. And I forgot to mention, you will need a crocodile. Now I don't know where I put mine. Like, I literally just used it right before I started filming this. Y'all would not believe how often I lose this crocodile. And crocodiles are not small. They're large. So how do I always lose it? I'll be right back. Let me go find it. I found it. Yay! You will need a crocodile. If you don't have a crocodile, this might be difficult to do. I'm sure there's a way to do it. This just makes it a ton easier. So you will need that. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my piece of acetate. Now this piece I already have cut down, but you can measure and see what size you need it to be. And go ahead and cut it down for the height that you need. And then what I did, just to make it easier, was I stuck it inside the paper clip like this. And this is going to be really hard to see. I don't know, with the acetate being clear, that might help a little bit because it's not on the glass. But after I had it inside there, you want to make sure it wraps around enough where you have an overlap in the back. because you're going to put tape on that and you want it to hold well. So I just wrapped it around that area. So this is our wrapped around area right here. So that's what's, oops. So that's what's going to go around the paper clip. And let me adjust this. So now I'm just going to cut that shorter. Now you could pre-measure it. I did one like that, but I liked the wraparound method better. And this doesn't have to be exact. You just want to cut it where none of that back part is sticking out on this side. I didn't exactly do it square, but we can trim it. You could do this like scoring and all that, but I'm just doing it like the easiest way I can think of, because you know, you want it to be fun. You don't want to sit there and be measuring everything, at least not all the time. I readjusted the camera and we're going to see how this works. Anyway, all right, so we're back to this spot right here. So now you have an overlap piece. It's got 3 sections on it. You do not want to put anything, stick anything down on this center section, because that is going to be the section that faces the front. So you don't want anything there. So we are going to be working on these flaps. So you want to see when you close it, you have that you're going to have tape here. So, and then we're going to put paper here. So you want the tape on the part that wraps around and sticks it closed on the outside. Now, I like to use double-sided paper for this, because you will see the paper on the other side. That's that one. That's that one. If you don't have paper that has a pattern on both sides, then you can always just stamp. Use like a background stamp or something on that side and stamp your paper. So it's not a big deal. Or you can just leave it white. Now for this part, we're going to be sticking a piece of paper on this section here. It doesn't really matter which of these 2 sections you pick, because once you get one covered, then you can use the tape to close it on the other section. I hope that makes sense. Measure. So this is about 7/8 of an inch and about 2 1/8. Now, if you don't do it exactly, that's fine, because you can always trim it after you stick it on. Not a big deal. Isn't it funny when you just measured and you already forgot the measurement? So we're going to do, I think it was 2 1/8. We're going to try that. I hope that was right. We'll find out. So we have, no, that was not right. Dang it. Okay, let's do this over again. I see where I messed up. Okay. 2 3/8. 2 3/8. Let me cut this right. So you get your scrap piece, and we're going to cut it 2 3/8 by almost 7/8. So we're just going to go a little bit before that. All right, so we have our little piece of paper. This is, you can use a really small scrap piece of paper for this, because obviously you're not using that large of a piece. So we have our paper to stick, and we just want to make sure it fits. It does fit nicely. It's a little short, but we're just going to go with it. So remember, we're sticking it on this part here, on one, not the center area. Don't stick it on the center. We're going to stick it on one of these 2 flaps right here. So I do use this sticky tape. You could probably use glue, but it would take longer to dry. So I'm just going to use the sticky tape here instead. The birds are just deciding I need help today. They're doing lots of chatter. First part of this video, I had the camera facing the other direction, so I think that's what was messing it up. So I apologize if the first part of this video does not look very nice. So let's see, try to center it. And that's one thing I hate about sticky tape is the fact that it's so sticky. Once you stick it down, you're not moving it. Okay, so I put it a little bit close to the fold there, but it's still okay. I just need to trim it down just a tad. And it's okay if you have to trim it. You just want it when we close it up, you want it to fit in there. And I did put it a little too close to that fold. So you see where it's buckling right there? We're just going to trim that just a little bit. See, if you mess up, you can fix it. So it's not a big deal. Things are fixable. All right, so now we have it and it closes up nicely. Now we can take this other flap that's on the other side. Remember, do not put anything in the center. I'm going to keep repeating that because I know I would probably mess up and put something in the center. Oh my goodness. So we're going to put this. I really notice when I edit videos how much I say gonna instead of going to. Guess it's a southern thing. Not sure. And I also say so a lot, but I guess we all have our little filler words that we use. So after we get that done, we're just going to fold it over. And if it's not perfectly square, that's okay because you can trim. You can come back and trim this little part that's hanging over right there. And if you need to, you can trim this side. Now on this one, I tried using the corner chomper and rounding it. That did not work well. So on this one, I just kind of rounded it off with some scissors. That's just up to you. It's just because you'll see when we put it on here, it's a little square. So now you're just going to slide this onto the section of the paper clip that you made it for. If you made it for the long piece, then you would put it on the long piece. So see how this one is slid on this section like this, and this one is slid onto this section. And next you are going to, now this is hard if you're doing it on the shorter one because you can't get the crocodile in there. So if you're doing it on the longer section, you won't have a problem. But if you're doing it on the shorter section, you want to go ahead and punch this hole. You want it towards the bottom in the center. And if you have larger eyelets, that's great. I own some larger eyelets. I can't find them anywhere. I'm using the ones that come with the crocodile. So they are the, trying to see, I think they're 5/8. I don't know. They're not the 1/8 ones. 3/8 maybe? 3/16, maybe 3/16. That's it. So once you have the hole punched, do not put the eyelet in yet. You want to slide it back on to your paper clip. So now put your eyelet in because that's going to hold it onto, and it's best to come from the side to do this because of the fact that you have that other piece there. And you're just going to close the eyelet on there. And it'll kind of turn sideways a little bit, but that's okay. So now push the eyelets to the side because we don't want to put this other eyelet on yet. Now we need our filler. So I found last time that kind of mixing the filler as I put it in was the best way to go. Now, as I said before, if you have a larger eyelet, like I have some really big ones. I do not know where they are, but if I ever find them, I will use them. if you use anything too small, it's going to slide out these sides right here. So that's why I'm using some larger sequins, because I like some sparkle. If you don't want sparkle, you don't have to put this in there. But you have this little slot at the top, so you're just going to slide things in. And the more you pack it, the less it's going to move around. I'll put a couple of the spider webs in. Well, if I could get it in there. A couple of the spider webs in there. It is a pretty small opening, but if you have these little flat shaker card elements, they work well. We'll put a couple more of the sequin, a couple of spiders, maybe a little bit more of the sequin. So we have them in there. So I kind of like that. I wish I would have mixed up the spiders and the spider webs, but it's still cute. Maybe one more spider. You know what? I don't know if these little stars will fall out, but let's see. Yeah, and to get the other things out, I had to like bead it on the table. Now beads, no, they fell right out. But the mica flakes, I was like hitting it on the table because I wanted to see if it would come out. All right, one little star in there. So then we want to take the larger hole on our crocodile again. This time, of course, it's got to stay on. You want to make sure it's centered. You want to go towards the end here, in the center, and punch that hole. If you don't own a crocodile, I highly suggest you get one. This is my second one. I gave my first one to my aunt. And I have had a crocodile since they existed, and I could not live without one. So even just to punch holes in thick materials, it's just the best. So now we have our little shaker. Like I said, it doesn't shake that much, but it's so cute, right? Look at that. And of course, you know, you can fill it with anything you want. Now I tried putting the ribbon on this part. I didn't like it. So we have our little ribbon that fits our theme. Just slide that. Slide it in there as it doesn't want to go in. All right, put that in there. With our spiders showing. Just because I'm on camera, they do not want to cooperate. Isn't that how it works? Don't have the best dexterity this morning, it looks like. I have only drank 1 cup of coffee. So no shaky hands. I don't know what the deal is. Haven't eaten breakfast yet, but you know, I'm not really a breakfast eater. All right, so there we go. And you could trim the ribbon. You could, you know, do what you like with it. But there's our little, I say shaker. It shakes. They're all on top of each other. I personally like to fill it more. I just think it's cuter. And then, of course, you have it to, whoops, spill all the stuff everywhere. You have it to put on and use as a paper clip. I mean, use as a bookmark. I'll get it straight in a second. So there it is. So cute. I think it's cute. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you all have a great day. See you next time.